everyone, my name is Lauren Kensley. I'm a professional freelance costume designer and technician, and today I'm taking you along with me as I make a pair of pants. Now this was fabric that was given to me just by someone who didn't want it anymore, and I really wanted it. It's corduroy, so I really wanted to make a pair of pants. And so here's me ironing it. I had washed it, of course, first step always. And so once I got done with that, take a look at the pattern. Because it was gifted to me, I didn't really know how much fabric I had, and I didn't measure it before buying this pattern, which I really should have, as you'll see in a minute. But I cut out all of those pattern pieces, got that all prepped. You don't have to cut them perfectly when you're just cutting them out of the paper. It's just kind of get them separate from each other. Then you usually want to press them with a low heat iron because they're pretty wrinkly usually from being in the package. And now here is where you're going to see that I quickly realized I did not have enough fabric to make these pants. Now they did have, this was a specific pattern that had all these like design elements that you could change about it. So what I decided to do was cut them shorter, and then I was gonna add an accent band at the bottom in a different fabric. It still was not enough fabric to cut them at the length to do that for the size that I needed. So I ended up cutting them in patterns. I'm wearing a size 14, and so I cut them to the length of a size 6, and then was hoping that the end band would be enough to cover that, like get me up to the length that I needed. It ended up not being long enough for that. So as you'll see, right now I'm just working on the pockets, the beginnings of it. So while you can just watch me working on it while I kind of talk about what my solution was here. So as you saw with those pockets, that's actually a like green velvet that I'm using, and these pants are a good autumn color. So I decided that kind of teal green went really well. That's also a good autumn color. So I paired that, and then since I was gonna add that as a band around the bottom, I didn't want it to come off as totally random. So I made the back pockets also out of the velvet, and the front pockets I kept as the same corduroy as the rest of them. And then I actually stitched the majority of the pants in the teal green thread as like a nice bit of contrast. So the pockets are stitched in the teal green. The hem is done in that. Just, you know how jeans like use gold thread instead of blue thread? It's a design choice. So I did end up doing the zipper twice actually, because the way that the zipper was described in the pattern kind of confused me the first time, and I really didn't like it. So I ended up doing it a second time around, and I was much happier with it the second time. I did serge all of the pieces. That's what the black thread is on the sides. Unfortunately, a lot of the footage that I took of me sewing these was not good because my shoulder was in the way. It's kind of still in the way in some of these clips, but you can mostly see what I'm doing. I have learned my lesson about camera angles, it's safe to say. The waistband was pretty easy, a pretty standard waistband, nothing too difficult about that. And here's me adding, so what actually ended up happening, the velvet band was not long enough to get me to the length that I wanted. So I had just enough fabric to add another strip of the corduroy, except instead of going vertically, the wales are going horizontally, which again, kind of a design choice. I like how it looks, and that's the amount of fabric that I had. That was sort of the other problem with this. I probably could have made the pants fit on the fabric, but because it's corduroy, it's directional. So, you know, like if you pet a stuffed animal, you want it to go all the same way. They would have been going opposite directions, which is why I couldn't mess around with how the pattern was laying out. So in adding these bands, I got to the perfect length. I used all the fabric that I had left, but here is the final product. I am super, super happy with how they turned out. I think they're super cool, and I'm very excited to wear them. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.